During childhood, my mom abandoned me, and I couldn't be more grateful. I was packing up my room for college when I found a locked box in my dad's dresser. But as soon as I asked my dad about it, he shouted, "Never snoop in my room again." Well, I'd been in his room dozens of times in the past without him caring, so now I knew he was hiding something. So one day, I got my best friend to call him saying he was stranded and desperately needed a ride home, and my dad, like a bear in a net, fell for it. He immediately left the house, and I instantly spotted the locked box on his bed and pried it open. Inside was a stack of legal documents, including my birth certificate. It had my exact birth date, except the name wasn't mine. My head was spinning as I kept sorting through them and found an adoption file. I looked up the woman's name I read. I found her Facebook, and not only did she look exactly like me, but she was still alive too. Without thinking, I messaged her asking if she wanted to meet up, because I think I'm her son. She practically replied within the same minute with her address, inviting me to come at any time. All I wanted to do was get to the bottom of whatever was going on. So the next day, I arrived at her front door, but before I could say anything, she hugged me so tight that I couldn't even breathe. And it was then that I noticed how she smelled. It was like breathing into a box of moldy fruit that had been left out in the sun for months, with maggots nesting inside of them. I almost gagged, and when we went into the house I could see why. All the walls and ceilings were infested with black mold, and the rest of the house just looked like the inside of a trash chute. After some brief conversation, I asked if she wanted help cleaning up, and suddenly, she lost it and screamed, "You work for him, don't you? He sent you to finish the job." I thought it was some weird prank, but when I turned around to face her, she was holding a knife and asked me if the government sent me, because cleaning is how they erase evidence. I assured her that I was her son, not a government official, and the more she didn't believe me, the more scared I got, so I ended up leaving. When I got home, everything hit me all at once. The confusion, the betrayal, the fear. And as I broke down, my dad came into my room and I told him everything. He just held me and apologized that he didn't have the strength to tell me sooner, but now he was ready to come clean. Long story short, my dad was at a gas station when a woman, my mom, came up to him with a baby, me. She shoved baby me into his arms before running into her car and driving off, and by the time the police showed up, she was already gone. He told me he never wanted kids, but when he held me, he knew he had to adopt me. I don't know if I was saved or stolen, but I do know that in the end, he chose me.